Hi, and welcome to Tamala and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday, where we share about treats, business, and life. Hi, I'm your co-host Tamala. I am owner of Torlitas for that sweet and crunchy taste. Torlitas is a dessert company located right here in this great state of Ohio, where I specialize in salty, sweet treats. If you want to know more about me, hit me over at IG at Toilitas. That's T as in Tuesday, Orlitas. Over to my co host.
Hello, guys, and welcome back. I am Taylor, owner of Taylor's Kitchen, located right here in Albion, Michigan, where we make custom sweet treats for your special occasions. I can be found on all social media platforms at Sweet Spirit Treats. Now, let's get into today's episode. So, welcome back to our podcast. We are here in the month of January. We are getting things done, and we are more than excited to share with you all of the lovely things that we have coming up for this year. Today is going to be a special one. We're going to be diving into the art of making sugar cookies, and not just any sugar cookies, some custom decorated 90th birthday sugar cookies. Let's get today's episode started. All right.
Hey guys, so this is a quick overview of the cookie designs. We had lots of different designs, and I know they're moving fast, but we're going to show you them as we go through here. So right now, the first step after you have baked and cooled your cookies is to flood them. So with royal icing, you can do lots of different designs and techniques, but flooding is the essential part because that's when you fill in your cookie with your first part of your design. So we chose to do this purple color for these cookies. The theme was 90 years loved. It was for a lovely young lady who celebrated 90 years of life. So in flooding the cookie, to get this purple color, I actually let the royal icing sit a day or two prior to putting it on the cookies because for the deeper colors with royal icing, there are a couple things you can do. One, you can add lots of color, but sometimes that calls for like a bitter taste in the cookie. So normally if you see like purples or blacks, they have like a bitter taste. So you can either make the color a couple days ahead of time, or you can add in lemon juice to your royal icing, and I find that helps to get the color deeper, but definitely letting it sit for a couple of days is the key for me. So right now we just flooded the whole cookie, and after flooding the cookie, we are using our scribe tool to get out any air bubbles. And so I normally just tap the scribe tool, tap the cookie, as you can see me doing here, and use the scribe tool to get out any air bubbles. Now, at first was real time, and it takes about 3 to 4 minutes to fill out each cookie. Right here, after the cookies have dried and I added some luster dust to get that silver effect, I'm just taking my tool and I'm in my piping bag and I'm writing 90th. So here's a tip for you guys if you have a word that you need to spell out. I start with the middle letter in the center of the cookie and then write the rest of the words, or write the rest of the letters, that way they can be even on the cookie. And again, just taking out any air bubbles. So with this technique, as you can see over there on the sheet tray, I decided to do some transfers. So this was not my first time doing royal icing transfers. However, this time I did them on this cookie tray, as you can see. So I thought the sheet tray was flatter than it was, but once I went to put on the cookies from the transfer after they had dried, some of them were not flat. So I recommend you get as flat a surface as possible to do your royal icing transfers on, so that when you go to put them on the cookie, they'll be flat. So you can do this This is one technique that I use because I don't have a projector at the moment. Or if you had a projector, you can just pipe this directly onto the cookie after you flooded them, and I let them dry overnight before I put on these final details. So definitely, if you are doing royal icing transfers, make sure they're on a flat surface. All I did was I took a piece of paper from my printer. I printed out the letter and the size that I wanted it to be, and I used the royal icing on top of a piece of parchment paper, and I put the design under it, and I just outlined it in black. And because I needed these for the same day, I popped them in the oven at the lowest temperature possible. I want to say for about maybe like 30 minutes at like 100 degrees in the oven. So if you need some transfers and you need them to dry out quickly, it's almost like dehydrating them in the oven, which is what I did for this. Right now, we're just putting different letters onto the cookies. I did some 9s and some 0s, and I did the letter S for some cookies. And I definitely tried to get the placement right. But as you can see on here, the 9 is not flat all the way against the cookie. What I end up doing was breaking it and just making it as flat as possible. I wanted to make sure that I had the royal icing over the whole part of the line of the number 9, so that when I broke it onto the cookie, it didn't look like separated. So I was just taking the time to put the royal icing on the back of the transfer, which acts as kind of like a glue for the royal icing transfer. Trying to be extremely careful with this because I did put the royal icing on the back and I glued it on with black royal icing instead of purple. So if I were to move it too much, you'll end up seeing black spots on the under the royal icing transfer, and that is not what I wanted to do. So here are just a couple more examples of me putting the royal icing transfers onto the cookies. Again, you want to be extremely careful and make sure that you put them on using something flat. You create them using something flat, because I don't really like when the cookies are in the bag and then the sprinkles break off and then they're everywhere. It just doesn't look as clean and professional. So definitely take your time to do this part. It's well worth it and you will be happy with the end result. So for this one, I have broken the royal icing transfer. And then I put it on upside down, but we're not gonna dwell on that, all right? So if you break the royal icing transfer, just continue to go. If it's a design that you can glue it back together, then glue it back together. So here are the cookie tags that I used for the front of the bag. I actually made these myself. I made them on Canva. I made a template for them. I know the size of the bags that I wanted to put the cookies in, so I just made sure that my lines were the same size of the bags that I wanted to put the cookies in, and I created them. They weren't really that hard if you're used to using tools such as Canva. And then I used this paper cutter that I have to cut out the designs. So one thing that I realized, you see that line down the middle above the 90? That's where I wanted to fold all of these in half at. And right here, I realized that I can fold them all in half by using the paper trimmer. And that saved me so much time, effort, and energy. So just a quick hack if you guys need to make some cookie tags, definitely use the side of your paper cutter to fold them over, and it'll help you speed along your day because your fingers get tired folding all of those over, okay? You can even fold them the right direction the first time. But they were cute. I really liked them. They had a little pop of color in them. And they were very simple, 90 years loved. So the final part of doing this is packaging all of these cookies and putting them together. And here you can see the different designs that I did. The ones with the heart, I used royal icing stencils, and then I just put the royal icing over it, and then I scraped it with a scraper. Then here are the 90 cookies that I wrote the word 90 on. And finally, here's how they all looked all together. The flowers, I used fondant to make those rose-shaped flowers. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Taylor, wow, you really outdid yourself on these. I know that they were so pleased and excited to have your 90th cookies, birthday cookies. I mean, what a special one, commemorative um, celebration. And two, I know it was a joy for you to do. So, really good job on that. I know that you had a really nice time creating and giving these cookies to the lady.
Yeah. So definitely thank you for that. It was a very big joy creating these cookies, especially because it was someone that has watched me grow up and has seen me from a young lady until now. It was also just very good to glean some wisdom from somebody who's been here 90 years, guys. That is a long time to be alive and making it, and to see them surrounded by family and loved ones was definitely a very monumental occasion. So thank you for that, Tamala. Thank you for you guys watching today's episode. So there you have it. We have a batch of 90th birthday cookies. Hope you enjoyed this hands-on journey and baking experience. And we cannot wait to see you next week here on Tamala and Taylor's Treat Talk Tuesday.
I gotta tell you something I could do. I could be right.